These are crazy times to invest in the stock market. We are at all-time highs, many would argue. There is a lot of anxiety with what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, the threat of high gas prices, the threat of World War III, and then there's just our normal daily lives, getting up, going to work, taking our kids to school, and through all this, we're still expected to invest for our future retirement. So do me a favor, I want you to sit back, I want you to take a deep breath and let it out. Now, let's buy some dividend stocks. The great thing about picking quality dividend stocks for your investment portfolio is you are picking consistent companies that make a profit day in and day out. They're not going to invent a new technology that's going to change our life forever, but they are going to make money every single year. And they're going to pay dividends to you every single year. And you can expect that dividend to go up every single year. Let's take a look at the best dividend stocks to buy here in March of 2022. We're going to take a look at some great dividend stocks that would fit into a core portfolio, well balanced, great dividend growth rates, great dividend yield, and a very healthy payout ratio. We'll also take a look at the best high yield dividend stocks to own right now. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look at each sector of the economy and we'll identify what I think is the best dividend stock to own in that sector. This is my dividend stock spreadsheet. It's what I put together for my Patreon community every single month. It's got all of the dividend stocks that have been paying dividends for at least 5 consecutive years. We've got the number of years paid right here, the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year growth rates for the dividend right here. We've got the payout ratio based on free cash flow, which is something most people don't take a look at. And we've also got the trends for the free cash flow per share. If you'd like to get a copy of this spreadsheet for yourself, it's available in the Patreon community. Check out the link in the description below. All right, so when we talk about dividend stocks that are very balanced, one that would be in your long-term core portfolio, you don't necessarily need the cash flow right now. You're looking for a great balance between dividend yield as well as dividend growth. First thing we want to do here is we want to make sure we pick up dividend growth rates that are in the green here, meaning they exceed at least 5% on the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year growth rates. Next, what we're going to do is make sure that we have a healthy dividend payout, meaning we want to make sure our payout ratio based on free cash flow is in the green between 0 and 75%. Here are some dividend stocks on the list that I already own in my portfolio. Right here, Star Group Unit, as well as Manulife Financial Corporation. Then we've also got AbbVie, right down here, ABBV, and right next to it, First of Long Island Corporation. I still like all 4 of these dividend stocks in my core portfolio, and I continue to add to them every single month and reinvest all of my dividends. Now, above and beyond these 4 companies, we've also got some real estate investment trusts right here, Care Trust REIT, CTRE, and MGM Growth Properties LLC, MGP. I am not advocating that you just pick up one of these dividend stocks because it meets all of my metrics and say that it's a good fit for you. Make sure you understand what you're buying. Take a look at their price history, though I would tell you that for me personally, when it comes to price history, I don't expect nor do I really want my dividend stock to go rapidly up in price because that limits my ability to reinvest dividends at quality prices, meaning I collect fewer shares, which means my income will be lower over the long run. So if a dividend stock is continuing to raise its dividend every single year and their price is kind of flat or growing slowly, that's okay with me. Now that we're talking about high yield dividend stocks, we're willing to give up a little bit of our dividend growth rate in exchange for a higher yield. So I went ahead and removed the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year growth rate filters on the spreadsheet, though we are retaining our focus on keeping the payout ratio less than 75%. Top dividend yield that's available right now, 7.15% yield on British American Tobacco PLC. Ticker symbol is BTI. This is one we talked about last month. It's one that I am going to be adding to my high yield portfolio. Just haven't had a chance to do it yet. This is a dividend challenger. It's been raising dividends every single year for 6 consecutive years, which is not a significant amount of time. However, it is still a high-yielding dividend stock with a history of 6 years. We've got a few other dividend stocks on this list already that I own in my portfolio for full transparency. Northwest Bank Shares right here, NWBI. Down here, I've also got Unum Group, UNM. We've also got Altria Group right here, ticker symbol MO, that's already in my portfolio, currently yielding 6.73%. But these are all dividend stocks that meet my basic dividend criteria with respect to the dividend growth rate, dividend yield, and the payout ratio. Some of these high yielders right now you want to take maybe a closer look because they are continuing to raise their dividend every single year. British American Tobacco, Altia Group, Hess Midstream LP, Care Trust REIT, Getty Realty, Culp Incorporated, Nina Incorporated, MGM Growth. Of course, the ones that I own, Northwest, Star, and Altria. Let's take a look at each sector of the economy so we can take a look based on my dividend criteria what dividend stocks are best in each sector. Our first stop here is the communications sector of the economy. Omnicom Group Incorporated, OMC, and the Interpublic Group of Companies, IPG, both sporting a dividend streak of near 10 years, or in 10 years exactly, and dividend growth rates that are in the green for the 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. And if you look right over here, payout ratio based on free cash flow, also very healthy. And let's also make sure that we're not looking at any yellow or red. We'll filter only by green. Current yield 4.51% for MDC Holdings, and it's got a streak of 5 years. And dividend growth rates that are massively accelerating, 8, 17, 17, and 29.8% on their dividend growth rate. All of these dividend stocks right here have a dividend yield starting out of greater than 3%. When we filter only down to the 1 and 3 year growth rates being green, we've got fewer options. Top result based on dividend yield is Hooker Furniture Corporation, yielding 3.89%, followed by Whirlpool Corporation, WHR, yielding 3.43%. And you've also got Best Buy right here, a 19-year streak of paying consecutive and increasing dividends. Current dividend growth rate 27.3, followed by 15.9, 20.1, and 16.3%. A great option. Top 2 companies here based on my dividend metrics: Flower Foods and Medifast, FLO and MED. I briefly held Medifast. However, I decided to go in a different direction a while back. Just didn't see it as a great long-term holding in my portfolio. But followed by these two, we've also got the J.M. Smucker Company, SJM, which we talked about last month, as well as the Procter & Gamble Company, PG. Time to talk energy, and there's not much available based on our dividend criteria. In fact, they're both brand new energy companies, Hess Midstream and Cabot Oil and Gas Corporation. But really, we're only looking at Hess because Cabot has a yield of 0.57%, a 5-year dividend streak, raising the dividend by double digits every single year, currently yielding 6.17%, and a really ultra low payout ratio based on free cash flow. There are a ton of financial companies here in this sector, and we have to narrow it down by taking into account, of course, our dividend yield, but also taking into account those dividend growth rates. We can go as high as 5.24% with Manulife Financial, which is already in my portfolio, but you've also got some other lesser known but still great options here, such as Lakeshore Bank, First Interstate Bank System, Investors Bank Corp, Choice One Financial Services, etc. These are the top financial dividend stocks based on our criteria. Still primarily new companies, but you can jump in here with Choice One Financial, which has 11 consecutive years, and then Principal Financial with 14 consecutive years. By far, my favorite dividend stock here when it comes to healthcare is AbbVie. We've also got Amgen, we've got Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, Abbott Laboratories. These top two right here, Amgen and AbbVie, both yielding over 3%, really strong double-digit dividend growth rates. These are the ones that I would be looking at right now in the healthcare sector. Triton is our top result, currently yielding 4.01%, followed by a few others in the 2s. We talked about Lockheed Martin last time as well. Their yield has gone down even further, so it's not quite as good of a buy as what I mentioned last time, but still one that I've got my eye on for once it touches above 3% on the yield. When it comes to information technology, it's not something you normally think of dividend stocks as well, but these are the ones that have the highest dividend yields and meet our payout ratio criteria. Tetron Components, Intel Corporation, which is in my portfolio. I've also got Broadcom in my portfolio, a great dividend growth stock, one with a really high dividend growth rate. And it's been paying dividends consecutively every year for 13 years. You can also take a look here at Texas Instruments, HP, Garmin, Avnet, all here yielding above 2.5%. All right, materials. Top result here based on yield, 3.24% with Kaiser Aluminum. There's not a lot of great options here though based on yield, factoring in our dividend growth rates and our dividend safety. Top yield in the real estate space when it comes to real estate investment trusts is currently Care Trust REIT, which we already previously talked about, followed by Getty Realty, MGM Growth, and National Storage. And lastly, we've got utilities. Top result here is one that I already own in my portfolio, which is Star Group LP, currently yielding 5.49%. But you can also jump into Atlantica Yield, which is 5% current yield. Then 3.62 for Brookfield Infrastructure, which we talked about previously, and then NextEra Energy yielding 3.53%. If you liked this video, check out this video right over here. It's going to be a great resource for you for how to pick quality dividend stocks. That's all I got for you guys in this video. Have a great rest of your day, and please continue to stay healthy, both physically and financially. Have a good one.